Movies and Martinis celebrates women and diversity in the entertainment world
by ranking trending movies, shows, and books
with two completely different perspectives and ranked by delicious martinis.
Listen to find out how many martinis we felt it was worth.
And learn about the women who have written, performed, and/or directed in everything we have rated.
A new episode is available every Thursday on your favorite podcast platform and YouTube. What's up, everyone? Welcome to our podcast. I'm Priya.
And I'm Mercy. Welcome, everybody. Priya, how are you?
Good. How you doing?
Good.
Cheers. Cheers. I broke my cup. So
okay. So in your support, I will not have my martini. I will have a latte.
I don't know, like my videos.
I see your cup. I love your badass cup. What are you drinking?
Water. I know. I'm drinking Tito's. I'm drinking Tito's.
Yeah, right.
Tito's is not sponsoring this video.
No, they're not. They missed out. Oh my gosh. No, I'm having an oat milk latte, and it is yum. Super yum.
You know, lately I've been watching all these videos on TikTok with coffee and like different ways of like making like a thick coffee like cream and stuff. And I've been saving them in this little folder, so I'm like so excited to try all these different ways of making like coffee cream. And especially with the fall coming up.
Yes. All the spices.
Yes. Pumpkin spice latte.
I love it. And cinnamon lattes and lavender lattes and so
caramel.
Yes. Yep. I love it. Okay, let me know how that goes. I want to know what your success rate is.
Of course, I'll let you know.
Okay.
Okay, well, talking about pumpkin spice latte, we're verging on that season because today is September's open bar.
That's right, and it's top shelf only for our listeners. So we only talk about the best of the best that's coming up. And we also throw in there a couple of things that we've watched that we're not actually going to cover on the podcast, but that we watched, and it was a yay or nay. And so I've been socially really busy. Not that I'm a social butterfly in any way. It is not that at all. It's just that I have tons of friends over, and we've been doing different things around town, and so I haven't had as much TV time as I usually like to have. And I haven't gone to the movies, dating me, myself, and I, which is like my favorite when I go by myself to the movies. So, so I'm a little bit behind on that department, but I do know what's coming out in September.
Hashtag retired life.
Yes, hashtag living my best life. Absolutely. Yes.
Okay, so what's coming out in September, Mercy?
Oh, you want to?
Yeah.
You want me? Oh, girl, I'm in. Okay.
Kick it off.
So, super excited about this new movie that everybody's kind of talking about. It's called Maestro, and it's with Bradley Cooper. So Maestro is an American conductor, or was an American conductor. His name was Leonard Bernstein, and he falls in love with a Costa Rican actress named Felicia Montalegre, which is actually played by Carey Mulligan. And it has an incredible cast, including Matt Bomer, Sarah Silverman, Jeremy Strong. And Jeremy Strong is actually from the show I was just asked. Oh, what was it? Succession, which I was just asking you.
Yeah.
There, Maya Hawke. It also has a Michael Urie. So it shows a great cast. I've heard a lot of conversations about the movie because it's supposed to be about the dynamics of his family life and being with somebody that's Hispanic, as well as him as an inspirational conductor. And it also has a lot of talk in town because he wears a prosthetic nose and chin to resemble better the actual Leonard
person, actual person.
Yeah. So he's gotten some backlash about that, but it does look interesting. I really want to see what the fuss is all about. It's coming out in theaters. Actually, it was supposed to come out in theaters, and because of the strike and everything that is happening, it's actually coming out now, September 2nd.
Oh.
Although it should have come out in December.
Of this year.
So, of last year.
Oh.
So I don't know where the delays lie or what's happening, or I don't know. I don't know the backstory, but I do know that it is the talk, and people do, they want to see it. I want to see it. So I guess I'll let you know if it's worth the conversation.
Oh, dang. Yeah, I definitely want to hear more about that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what have you been watching? Is there anything that you've watched lately amidst your social life?
Oh, well, yeah, I finished all these shows that were ending at the end of this month, which we'll be talking about soon. Shows like Just Like That, which was kind of coming in. Only Murders in the Building, which is excellent. I've been watching that. I've been watching, I just finished The Summer I Turned Pretty, which was super captivating.
Yes.
Yeah, so that was great. And then I'm watching the one that you told me about, which is, so I saw that, but that was a movie on TV, so that was super quick. But I want to hear about the one that you watched at the movie theater, the Blue Beetle? Yeah, so I want to hear about that.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and then there's also another one that you told me about, and I can never remember the name of it. Is The Flowers of Alice something.
Alice Hart.
That's it. Yes.
Yeah.
For some reason, I always think it's like Flowers in the Attic field, but it has zero to do with that. But in my brain, that's how, when you mentioned it, that's what went in my brain, and now I can't get rid of it.
I know.
So whatever, that's where I'm at. So forget what I'm watching, because I'm not watching that much. I also want to talk about this movie that's coming out, and I'm a super Anne Hathaway fan. Love her. So she's coming out in a movie called She Came to Me.
Ooh.
And yes, so She Came to Me is the story of composer Stephen Lawton, who's creatively blocked, and then he's unable to finish the score for his big comeback opera. And he ends up falling in love with his former therapist, which is Patricia, and that's Anne Hathaway. So it's mega drama.
Is it a thriller? The title itself, like She Came to Me, sounds like it'd be like.
It does, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't really talk about what kind of a movie it is. It doesn't even say it. It just says who it's directed by, and I don't know. It just doesn't tell me what it is, but it looks like a drama to me from the previews I saw. If that's what I would call it. So it looks really interesting, and it's coming out September 29th. So I wanted to share that with you guys.
Nice.
Yeah. So the other thing that I wanted to tell you was another one, which is The Talking Heads. So if you're not a kid from the 80s, or you're not really crazy about pop music, you're probably saying, what the heck? What is that? Yeah,
because when you originally told me about it, I was like, what? And then you had to sing the song to me, and I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, so they had Burning Down the House, which was a real big song. And there's a movie about them. And it looks really good. So it's called Stop Making Sense, and it's the story of the Talking Heads. So it's a talking head movie. And I'll tell you what it says here, so you can tell me.
Okay.
It says here, and you may ask yourself, well, how did I get here? Has this ever happened to you? Then you may be the legendary director Jonathan Deeney's seminal Talking Heads concert film, Stop Making Sense. And so don't ask me, it's all over the place. I'm kind of lost in what the movie's about. I know it has obviously about the Talking Heads, but I don't know if it's about the main character or their manager or what the deal is, and they're not talking much about it. But it is coming out on IMAX theaters on September 22nd. So it sounds interesting. As soon as I have more information, I'm going to share it with everybody.
Love it. Oh my God. So Talking Heads, I would never be on my radar, but I'll definitely check it out.
Yeah. Same here. So I'll keep you posted to see if it sounds.
Can you sing the song? Do you know all the lyrics? Burning down the house.
That is definitely not how it goes. Completely offbeat, but I'm not even going to go there. So just look it up, girls.
Okay.
All right. Okay. So again, I didn't have that much. That's what I have. She came to me, sounds really good. The Maestro sounds really good. The other one, but I'll let you know what else I find out on the next one. Tell me what you've been watching.
Okay, so I'll start with what I want to watch because that's the way you started. So a movie that I'm really looking forward to is coming out on Prime, and it's starring Michael Pena, and it's called A Million Miles Away, and it follows a guy. His name is Jose Hernandez. Is the first migrant farm worker to travel to space. And it's a tale of perseverance, community, and sacrifice to accomplish an impossible dream. So as a little boy, he always dreamed about going to space. He would watch videos and shows about space, and like he wanted to be an astronaut. And the dream never died. Like he kept focused on it. He became an engineer. His wife was willing to sacrifice whatever she needed to help him to get there. So he had a lot of support from his family. And he kept on applying for the astronaut program, and he wasn't getting in, and then he had to like really think outside the box. Like, what are all these people have that are becoming astronauts that I don't have? Right. So he made a list and he started doing it, like becoming a pilot or like diving and all these other things that he had to figure out. And even after all that, and he applied, he still didn't get in. And he had to physically walk into, because I think he was working for NASA, but he had to physically walk into the building to meet the person who was in charge of the astronaut program and be like, hey, I'm a good candidate. You need to consider me. And then they considered him and he became an astronaut. So, I mean.
So you watched it, or it's coming up?
It's coming out on September 15th. So, I mean, it kind of like, the trailer was really good. So the trailer made me intrigued and was like, okay, I want to watch the story. So everything I just told you is literally from the trailer.
I got you.
And it looks really good. Michael Pena is a great actor. And I feel like after watching Blue Beetle and then seeing this trailer with Michael Pena, I'm like, oh my God, all these stars like have like been in the background. Hispanic stars are like really starting to shine through. And I'm talking specifically for men. Not just like the Selma Hayeks, like men that we usually see in the background as like supporting actors. And I love the fact that these guys are like really shining through. So talking about Blue Beetle, I saw it, guys. I saw it. And it was so friggin' good. 5 out of 5.
Really?
Yes. So it got a 93% on Rotten Tomatoes. It was so good. I think our guy, let me look it up real quick. Our guy, George Lopez, is in it. He plays the crazy kooky uncle that happens to be super, super smart. It's starring Zolo Mariduena. I'm probably going to messing up the last name. Becky G, who we talked about Blue Beetle in a previous open bar, and I saw it. So guys, it's worth it. Go see this movie. It's out in theaters. It's a DC movie. And DC finally got it right. Mercy, I'm going to say a bunch of stuff right now. You're probably not going to understand. But for anybody listening,
that sounds about right.
That is familiar with DC and Marvel. So James Gunn, who's now the new head of DC, decided to put Blue Beetle into his universe. So Marvel and DC have their own universes now. And before, Blue Beetle wasn't in like the main universe. It was sort of like an elsewhere kind of movie. And because it was so good, he's like, I'm going to include this. I'm going to include this in the main timeline for all of these characters and the action stars. And it was just so good. Like so even though it's DC and it's superhero based, there was a lot of family involved in this. So an alien scarab chooses a college student named Jaime Reyes to be its symbiotic host. And Becky G from, oh my God, I can't remember. Becky G from, okay, never mind. So Becky G plays the symbiotic host's voice, and it bestows the teenager with a suit of armor that's capable of extraordinary and unpredictable powers, forever changing his destiny as he becomes the superhero known as Blue Beetle. And it's based in real time, and it has to do with like, a Goliath company against a small community. And the Blue Beetle the scarab falls in Zolo's lap, Jaime Reyes' lap, and he becomes the Blue Beetle. It's just so good. It's so good. You have to see it. Like
really good.
I know you're not into like superhero stuff, but like this, you definitely would enjoy this if you saw it.
So the question now is, Priya, how many martinis would you give Blue Beetle? I mean, it sounds like a 5 to me. Because
yeah, I totally said 5 out of 5 before, and I'm sticking with that. 5 out of 5 martinis.
So definitely one to watch. Okay.
One to watch. You guys have to check it out. Okay. Next movie is Belle. So Belle is
again. This is one you watched, so you're gonna tell us all about it. I got you.
Yes, I watched.
And that was movies in the movie theaters, or
it was an older movie.
Oh,
it's an older movie. It came out in 2013. Wow. And I was, there are all these like biracial, ethnic roles placed in Victorian era shows and movies now.
Yes.
So I guess the algorithm has figured out that I enjoy this stuff, and it popped up in my algorithm, and I was like, I need to check this out. So it's based on a true story. It's a biracial daughter. Her name is Dido, and she is the daughter of a Royal Navy captain named Sir John Lindsay, and she's raised by her great uncle Lord William Murray, the first Earl of Mansfield, in 18th century England. And her great uncle is like the head of the court in England, and he has this huge case where he's trying to decide if a ship carrying slaves, it's this whole court case with insurance. The ship like dumped all these slaves in the ocean, and the insurance company is trying to capitalize on the slaves. It's this whole big mess. But because of her influence and her living with the first Earl of Mansfield, he was able to do something where he forever changed the landscape of slave trade in England. And it was a very moving story. It also included her love interests and the dynamic in society. And because she was not a slave and she was biracial and living in I guess like
white privilege world,
white privilege. Exactly. All these men were interested in her, but there was still like all these discussions about her skin color, which was crazy. But this is based on a real story, and I would totally give it like a 4 martinis. You guys check it out. I don't know if it's available on like Netflix or any of those platforms, but definitely search it and see if you can find it. The next one is Archive 81. It came out last year. And it's like this it kind of reminded me of Murders in the Building a little bit, because it is based on only one season came out, by the way, guys. And
so it's new.
It was in 2002, and people were upset because they decided to dump it. They're not.
It's old.
It's old by 1 year, but they're not renewing it anymore. But
you said 2002, but 2002. You meant 2022.
Oh. You guys, 2022. Yes.
Right.
Yeah, on Netflix. And it was like a 7.3 IMDb. It's really good. An archivist is hired to restore a collection of tapes, finds himself reconstructing the work of a filmmaker and her investigation into a dangerous cult. So it's like a thriller, like mystery, and it's really, really good.
Okay, tell me the title one more time.
Archive 81. And
it was last year. I watched it.
You did?
Yes.
Okay.
I did.
Do you remember?
Yeah, so I think that they're like hidden. It's like they're hidden in this place, and there's like tons and tons of videotapes.
Yes. So
and they're going through them.
Yeah, he has to live in like this remote place. He's hired by this dude, and he finds out his dad is involved, and this fire and all this stuff ensues. But it's just so good
because it goes back to his memories, and I remember that.
Yep. Oh, okay, great. So you saw something there?
I did. I didn't finish it. I lost interest. Maybe by the 3rd show. Like maybe I watched 3 of them and I was done with it.
Oh, boo-boo. But anyway, so I give it 4 martinis. I definitely.
Oh, wow. Okay, so it's worth continuing.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So, Outlander. I've been telling you about this show, and I know you haven't watched it yet, but it's on like season 7 already. They just did a mid-season finale, so the rest of the season is going to come out next year for season 7. But it's definitely a show to watch. 4.5. I love it. The kids always make fun of me when they hear the music because it's like this Celtic song that comes on in the beginning of the show. Sing me a song. And you guys love my voice.
I love it.
And it's so good. So it's about this woman. She's living in modern times in the 1970s, and she stumbles across the Stonehenge looking place. She touches the stone and she like gets zoomed into the past, into Scotland. And she meets this really hunky redhead that eventually becomes her husband. And she has a baby with this guy, but then she has to go back in the future. And it's really, really good. And it's a love story. And there's some like spicy scenes in there, you know, and there's also some really traumatic stuff. Like women were not treated well back in the day, and it's very true to form. But I definitely recommend it. If you haven't heard of Outlander, definitely check it out. It's available on Stars and Hulu. All right. And 4.5.
Okay. I was going to ask you.
The next
Killed
one.
the spoiler alerts. Some of them, but that's okay.
The next one is The Witcher. So Witcher's on its 4th season.
You told me about that one too.
Mm-hmm. And it's starring Henry Cavill. Henry Cavill really pushed for this show to come out. The Witcher is based on a video game. And so I'm always a little torn about it because I love the sci-fi. I love the video game aspect of it. I love Henry Cavill. And there's some moments where it just feels like the storyline draws on a little bit, but I love the action stuff. So I would still give it a 4 martinis. Okay. So there's a lot of drama going on right now because Henry's leaving the show and Liam Hemsworth is taking over his role. Oh. And everybody's upset because Henry's character has like white hair, yellow eyes, like this whole vibe. And everybody's like, ugh. They cannot imagine Liam in this role. So I'm actually looking forward to seeing the first episode of when Liam's on it, just to check it out, to see how it is.
You and the rest of the world, let's watch it.
Yeah, but I don't know. We'll see what happens. But definitely a 4.5 to check out The Witcher. And that's my rundown for what I've been watching.
That's a lot. That's a lot. That's some great stuff. That's really good.
Man.
Yeah,
some top shelf
get
stuff.
With it. Yeah, only top shelf.
Only top shelf, girl. Only top shelf.
Right.
Of course, all sci-fi. Most of it's sci-fi anyway.
Yeah, and I know that basically the entire country is hot as hell right now.
Oh,
so I'm really hoping that September brings some really nice weather and that it's super awesome.
Crossing my fingers for that. You know, hurricanes, earthquakes, all the fires. Like, it's insane. It's completely insane.
Super sad. Hey, so before we let everybody go, what about books? Did you read any books?
Oh, yeah. So I'm well, let's talk about your book first, because I'm a little spicy. Hold on.
So I finished the 2 books that we had previously talked about, The Housekeeper and The Housekeeper's Secrets. Mm-hmm. So I think on our last open bar, we spoke about reading the first one. Yes. So the first one, as a matter of fact, Sam and Kyle just took a trip to Rosemary Beach, which is supposed to be spectacular in the panhandle of Florida. And she read the whole book in just one drive, and she read it out loud. So they both enjoyed the book. Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
In the whole drive, they read that one book. They just couldn't stop. She was just going to read a little bit. And so she's going to start the second one. So I give that book 5 martinis. And the second one, 5 martinis. Because the first one had a lot of twists and turns. And the second one does in a completely different, unexpected way. Oh, which is excellent. It doesn't continue twisting everything like the first one.
Okay, I haven't finished it for book club yet. I'm planning to finish it this week. So,
okay. Super good. 5 martinis. And because it's open house and we're talking about the next month, there's a book called In 5 Years, which is the one that we're going to be reading the following month. Yeah. It is so far, I'm a little bit further than halfway. So far, 5 stars.
Oh.
5 stars. Wow. Oh, 5 martinis.
5 martinis.
Is excellent. Excellent. I'm loving the book. So check it out, everybody. Mm-hmm.
Oh man, I can't wait to read it.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So my series, and I had to pause for a second, so because there are some authors that are my favorites, and they have like all these different series underneath their collection or whatever. And so this author, her name is Zoe Draven, and it's Captive of the Horde King. Horde, Horde King. And
okay, because you know what we heard, right?
I know, that's why I had to get it right. I had to like make sure I'm getting it right. So it's really good. It's a series. So there is this underlying plot. So there's a whole bunch of books. There's an underlying plot in all these books, and they're different Horde kings. So if you guys remember Game of Thrones, was it Game of Thrones? Yeah, Game of Thrones. And the role that Jason Momoa played as a Horde King. He was a Horde King in that show. So imagine a bunch of Jason Momoas in this book. And it's a lot of adventure. There's a lot of romance, a lot of spice, and it's just totally up my alley. It's totally my thing. 5 out of 5. And Zoe Draven right now is my favorite author, next to Sarah J. Maas. So she's my favorite author. I love her.
Aww,
so yeah,
that's excellent. I love it. Okay.
All right, guys.
That concludes everything.
Yes.
I so love it. So I hope everybody gets some good shows in, some great movies, and some good reading.
Exactly.
And then that it's nice and cool and crisp, and some yummy either lattes or anything pumpkin.
I love it. I love it. So thank you guys for listening. We love you guys so much.
Yes.
Make sure you tune in next week. Listen to our next podcast, anywhere you find your favorite podcast, or on YouTube. I hope you're watching us on YouTube. Like, share, follow, subscribe, all that good stuff.
All of the above, please. So we will see you on the next one. Bye, guys. Bye.